How to find your greatest sense of purpose as an introverted personal trainer. Hey, Sensei Sarah here with another incredible insights episode for every introverted personal trainer who wants to feel more fulfilled in your work and develop a loyal client base that appreciates your unique soul without having to feel guilty about it. So here's this week's insights with what you need to know. Insight number one, know what makes you happy. One of the biggest assets we have as introverts is that we tend to sit back and watch. So when it comes to decision making, if it's not important, we're likely to leave the decision making process to other people. And if we're happy to go along with it, we probably will. But that's not helpful when it comes to your personal training business because you are the most important part. And fitting in with what others want, especially clients, is a road to frustration and feeling undervalued. I mean, of course, you're there to help your clients achieve their goals, but that's only rewarding for so long if you're molding yourself to what they want and you're not connecting with that part of your introverted self that yearns for deep meaning at the same time. So, if you want to feel connected, valued, and driven, you need to be able to understand what makes you happy. There's a saying that I try to live by, and it's just because you can doesn't mean you should. And as introverted trainers, we are super capable people. We can pretty much turn our hand to loads of things that other people find really useful. But there's a large section of those things that we can do that we think of as being minor or really tedious. Let's take graphic design, for example. I can design web pages, and for my business, it's quite fun. I've designed and created all of my websites over the years, including the latest one at kickasspt.com. But would I want to do that all day, every day for other people? No. Another example is making chocolates. Like, I learned how to make chocolates from my grandma, and I love the whole process of coming up with new filling ideas and then challenging myself to see if I can pull them off. And anyone who has ever tried to make chocolates knows how fiddly it is. So would I want to make a business out of it? No, I couldn't think of anything worse. And it's exactly the same in your fitness business. Just because you can do it doesn't mean that you'll find it fulfilling at all. So insight number two is know who you want to help most. You might not know it, but there's a fight going on between your head and your heart when it comes to understanding the type of client that you want to work with. Your head, we call that character Wreck-It Rose, she's telling you that you can help everyone. And unfortunately, it is true. Exercise really does help everyone. But when it comes to standing out from the crowd of other trainers, helping everyone doesn't help you at all. Whatever we do in life, there's always aspects of it that we don't enjoy quite so much. Education is a great example of this. You could be on the best course in the world, but there'll always be one module that was kind of a bit meh, or you just really hated it. I mean, data analysis on my master's degree really comes to mind. Ugh. But life is short, and if you want to stop feeling like you have to work twice as hard as extroverts to succeed as a trainer, you have to stop listening to your head. That voice in your head, Wreck-It Rose, who's trying to tell you you can do everything. Your heart really has to win this fight. For your business to feel meaningful and fulfilling, we have to resist the urge to help everyone and focus on the type of people that we find the most interesting or challenging. I mean, I remember working with a lady back in 2008. She was a personal training client of mine. I think it was 2008. And it was just as the recession hit here in the UK and it was starting to bite. And she was feeling really trapped. She was living with her parents and she'd had the same job for about 10 years, but she really wasn't thrilled about having it. She wanted to quit and she wanted to leave her parents' house. And she'd been asking all these other people what they thought, and they all said the same thing. Quitting your job in a recession is crazy, don't do it. So when she asked me, I simply asked her, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do with your life? And all of a sudden, her eyes just lit up and she started talking about traveling and volunteering somewhere like Nepal. And I could see that it was really, truly what she wanted to do. So I suggested that she look into the Teaching English as a Foreign Language course so she could be paid to travel. So she signed up to one of those courses, and once she passed, she arranged to go to Nepal for a few months. Now, the point of this isn't that I have amazing advice. which, of course I do, joke. It's, is that deep down, all we want is we all know what we really want to be doing. We're just waiting for someone to give us permission to do it. And it's the same with your fitness business. You know who you really want to be working with, and now you have permission. So insight number 3 is know how to communicate. Now, as introverts, we are really good at being in our own heads. And sometimes we can feel like we've said something out loud when actually we never did. And that's happened to me loads. But when it comes to your fitness business, you cannot afford to keep things in your head. You must communicate them. And being able to communicate the things that make you happy and the type of people you want to be helping is the only way that you'll succeed. It's what makes you stand out from the other trainers. It's what makes you, it gives you the confidence and the energy. It's how you find deep levels of meaning, connection, and fulfillment without having to feel guilty about it. And I know that tooting our own horn isn't something that comes easily to us as introverted personal people, but it really isn't about that. It's about being super clear on who you are and who you can help. An example of this is when most trainers get asked what they do for a living, they say something like, I help people get fit and healthy. But this doesn't communicate anything about what that means exactly to you or who you are best at helping. And worst of all, it leaves the potential client having to figure that out for themselves. This is what leads to long conversations that start out all hopeful and end up in disappointment for the both of you. And the inevitable rejection when they don't take you on as their trainer is something that we can take quite personally. But when somebody asks me what I do, I say, I help introverted personal trainers to find their voice, their value, and their va-va-voom. Straight away from this one sentence, they know exactly who I work with. They might not be able to figure out exactly how I do it, but that's not the point. The point is that the potential clients can either be interested or not immediately by my answer. And this saves a lot of heartache and frustration on both sides. And I'm not leaving them to figure out anything for themselves either. It's really clear right from the get-go. And I can tell you, it feels amazing. I used to say stuff like, oh, I'm self-employed, or I'd make up a profession when I was asked what I do away from work, because I would dread that polite, pretended interest response of, oh, maybe you could help me then. It's always like that little pathetic joke. And I actually fell for that a few times, but then was really disappointed when it didn't lead anywhere. Now I don't have to pretend that I'm somebody I'm not. So here's what I'd like you to take away from this Incredible Insights episode. Firstly, understand who you are and what makes you happy. Number 2, know exactly who you want to help. And number 3, know how to communicate that in everything you do in your business. The point here is that you can feel more fulfilled in your work without having to feel guilty about it. So if you're an introverted personal trainer who seriously wants to make this even easier, then just take a minute to grab my copy of my planner, the Ultimate Energy and Confidence Whoosh Planner for introverted personal trainers. You can grab that at kickaspt.com/whoosh. It will walk you through the exact steps you need to find more meaning, connection, and satisfaction in your work without feeling like you don't deserve it. So don't forget, if you like this video, show us some social media love and feel free to share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.